And we're live. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's your man James, Mr. Sequential Treasures, back again with some more live stream action for you. No musical intro this time. It's not quite like we're gonna be like did the last time there. It's not much cause for celebration, but something I thought you would find interesting. I did this last year and I had kind of enjoyed it, so I thought I'd do it again this year. Today I'm going to show you the entries I made for the best of segment at Comic Art Fans. And these are the selections you do throughout the year that you put up your stuff, and then you pick out the five best pieces you think you got in that year. And these are my selections. um Now this is a little earlier than I normally do live streams, and there's a reason for that. I'll get into that more in a moment, but for right now, let's say we just get on and get right into it. And we got, of course, Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Hail, Leg Kick. Hail, my friend. Hail, glad you could make it. So let's get right on into it and start sharing some screens here. And here we go. Okay, now these are my selections for the best of 2023, the best pieces I picked up all year. Let me actually enlarge that out for you guys more. There you go. So you can see it all. And, here they are, the five pieces I chose. And we'll start off right here at the top, with the published, unpublished covers. This is the only cover I got all year, book called Fleeing Darkness, #1. And let's click on into that. And we'll pick it up for you there. Now this is a cover to a smaller press book from a company called Cross Star Comics, or Starcross Comics. That is Starcross Comics. And this is by a friend of mine, an artist named Jason Metcalf. Now, some of you may know Jason's name, some of you may not, but I first met Jason back in 2003, and I was very impressed with his art. And over the years, he's just gotten better and better, as you can see here. This great image, lots and lots of detail. What immediately drew me to this image is all this right over here on this side. All that cross hatching on the smoke, on the flaming cross, on the soldiers, just all that cross hatching was just incredible. I mean, the amount of detail he put into this is insane. And then when you get down here to the grass, I love the use of the negative space to indicate the grass. It really just makes it something a little special, something a little different. And in case you don't know, this story is based upon supposedly what happens in the wake of North Korea being taken over by Kim Il Sung, who took over, and then right before he started the war. So this is what happens to the Christians who lived in North Korea right before it became communist. So, and that's what this is all about. So it's a very, very political minded story, and got religion in there too, you could say. So, two things they say you should never talk about is politics and religion, yet that's what this book is all about. But again, just it's a great image, a very stark image. I've loved Jason's style, like I said, ever since I first saw it back in 2003. And when I look at his style, I see influences of Mark Silvestri and Stephen Platt. And again, just the amount of detail he packs in. I mean, like look at the tree here in the background with the shading around the trunk to give you that effect is just incredible. I mean, again, this is a guy who, if the comic industry wasn't in the sorry state that it's in now, 25 years ago, Jason Metcalf would have been working at the major publishers. He'd been doing Batman or Spider-Man or the Hulk or something like that. He'd be working on a mainstream, big time book if this was like 25 years ago. That's how good this guy is. I mean, it's almost a travesty he's not working in the mainstream. But then when you see how the mainstream has gone in the last 10 years or so, maybe it's better for him that he isn't. But yeah, just a great image, very stark, very contrast, contrast, and just it's a visceral punch. It's the child crying, the family trying to stay together. You got the troops on the march, the burning of the church. I mean, just very visceral imagery that is meant to evoke an emotional response. Like I said, the minute I seen this, I was like, I have to have this. And just for you who want to see right here, this is Starcross Comics. This is the published version to the cover. And again, it looks very good, but I actually think it looks better in black and white. Just personally, myself, I think it looks better in black and white. I mean, the flames maybe look a little better because of the color, but other than that, I mean, all the rest of it, I think it looked much better in the black and white version. But again, this just goes to show you what a great talent Jason Metcalf is. I mean, that it's just a very powerful image, which is what you want for a cover. And again, one that's focusing on a story that's dealing with both religion and politics. So, very, very something that could be normally very divisive, and yet the image is still very impactful. And it shows that, just because you have some of those elements in a story doesn't mean it can't also create great art. And again, just Jason Metcalf's one of those guys who just, like I said, I guess he was born the wrong time. He was born two decades earlier than he was. He'd have been a superstar in the mainstream, but instead, we get awesome indie book covers and stuff like that from him, like this. So definitely was one of my picks of the year. Like, how I didn't see how I could not pick it. So then we go down to our next section here, and we got the unpublished panels and interior pages. And first up, we got this here, Adventures of Superman Annual 1 from 1987. And it features the first appearance of a character called the Wordbringer and the first artwork by Dan Jurgens on Superman. So his first Superman-related work for Dan Jurgens. Now, if you don't know anything about the story here, the basic story is Superman is sent into a town to investigate the disappearance of everybody in the town. Like, the town is just empty. And, you got like stuff like there's food sitting on counters that's half eaten and stuff like that. And cars parked out in the middle of the road with nobody in them. So like the people just like disappeared. And so Superman's trying to figure out what this is going on in here. And he comes to find out that it's all the munitions of this alien here, the Wordbringer, who is trying to create what he calls the Union, which is like a sort of like a hive mind creation that also imbues him with lots of mental power. And he's doing this because he's like, one, a religious zealot this way. He believes that the Union is all. And he also wants to use the power of the Union to get revenge on his own race because they cast him out for being like basically like a heretic believing in this stuff. And so this is the scene right before Superman finds out exactly what the Union is and how it works. And I just love the narrow panels that Jurgens uses here to display this. Just the close-up shots ratchet up the tension of the scene dramatically. If I could make any change at all, I would just say have the panels 2 and 3 switch them, and then that way you got like eyes to eyes, mouth to mouth. And again, just look at those mouths, even with like virtually no dialogue on those panels. Just those expressions that tells you everything. Superman with the gritted teeth, the smirk of the alien, just great stuff. Jim Starlin wrote a great story here, and Dan Jurgens again, in his first Superman work. And I remember when I first read this issue, it blew me away. The Secret of the Union, and and the way the story ends is really something special. I mean, if you've never read this story before, you definitely need to check this out. This is like one of my all-time favorite, like not just Superman stories, not even favorite annuals, but like one of my all-time top 10 comics of all time. Like if I was on this desert island, I could only have 10 comic books on it with me, this would be one of the 10. And here we are, we'll see the color version, so you can see that there. Takes nothing away from Jurgens' work, which is always a good thing. That's like you always tell a good colorist. A good colorist never takes away from the work that the artists, the pencils and inkers have done. So, and again, just you can see like Superman's body language in this, very tense, a very tense scene. And then here's the cover to the book. Hell Below. I'll never forget that. That's Hell Below around the cover there, and it's just a great story. Lots of action, lots of drama, pathos. I mean, without trying to spoil the story for anybody, in the end, Superman wins, but he kind of loses too. It's kind of like one of those types of endings. It's like I said, it's just for a young me who is just freshly into comics for just a few months at the time, to read a story like this just blew my mind. And it's like they don't make stories like this anymore, and we're all the poorer for it. But here it is, Dan Jurgens' very first Superman work. So how could that not be something that you would put in like your best of for the year? Then we got our second piece here in this category that I chose. This is from Iron Man number 276 from 1991, featuring the retelling of the origin of Iron Man Tony Stark. And this page to me is like the key page outside of perhaps when he first shows up in the armor, in full armor. This is probably the key page, because you can see here it transitions from right after he's been injured to when he wakes up and realizes, that the damage is like kind of permanent. And this moment here is basically what sets him on the road to becoming Iron Man. It's a very key moment. And you get to, I just love the captioning here, the stories here by John Byrne. He goes, pain, heat and pain. Each step thuds through him like a hammer blow. Each breath is a shuddering gasp. His shirt grows dark and wet with blood. The darkness comes to end the pain. And I like the transition with this whole, the darkening coming on, and then it fades away and he wakes up. It's just very well done. And you can see right here, they show you just how bloody and injured he is here. But take note, when we see the colored version, well, this right here is the back of the page. It had some interesting little sketches on it. I always wondered if they were actually used for anything. But here's the colored version to the page. What do you notice here? They kept it black and white. They did not show the blood in a bloody color, even though some of it goes over that little, sort of transitional line work. Right here, you can see that this should be red right here, and a little bit up here, but it's not. They just colored it the same as the jacket because, again, I'm sure this is probably something they did to try to say, we're trying to be kid friendly here. We don't want to show a bloody mess, but yet I just love this. Paul Ryan, to me, I've always said he is the comic artist's comic artist. When I think comic book art, I think of Paul Ryan. His talent was unsurpassed in being the quintessential comic book artist. And here he is, inked by Bob Wiacek, a great inker with him. And again, this was his first issue as series artist for Paul Ryan. This is his first issue on the book. So kind of interesting there to have a page from his beginnings on Iron Man, and here's our cover, blast from the past, because you see it again. And again, you bring in a whole new art team. What better way to show that than to, I guess, retell the origin of the character, right? So there you go, just a great cover image there. So again, another one, got some significance here, because the difference between this and his previous origin is they tie it into how the Mandarin is also a part of his origins now. His arch enemy, the Mandarin. And so a very interesting retelling, but like I said, a great page. No armor action, but like a quintessential key moment to the character. And we got some stuff here. Got Blackjack. He goes, I forgot Paul Ryan did Iron Man. He had a real long run on FF. Liked him at first, but I think he was on FF too long. Got tired of it. You know what? I didn't get tired of his FF run. In fact, I was kind of upset that they took him off at the very end, right before the the Onslaught storyline, where they get to go into the Pocket Universe. There were 2 issues that were done by I think Carlos Pacheco before that, issues 415 and 416. And if Paul Ryan would have got to do those 2 issues, he would have had an exact 5-year run on the book. And so I always felt that, to me, that felt a little disrespectful to take him off right before he crossed the line to reach his full 5 years on the book. And that's just, just one of those things. I'm sure there's a story behind that somewhere, but since Paul Ryan's no longer with us, I doubt we're ever going to hear it. And it's funny you bring up Blackjack, because that will be coming up here in a second. And then we go to my final 2 pieces that I have, which are the published splash pages and title pages. And we'll start off right here with this one. This is Sludge number 3 from the much lamented Malibu's Ultraverse comics. And right here, it's a great opening title page here with the character of Sludge, pretty much in the entire page. And this is artwork by Aaron Lopresti and Gary Martin. And, this is where Aaron Lopresti really kind of came on the map. He had done some stuff at Marvel before this for, I think in 91 and 92. But come 1993, he went over to Malibu and he started working on this book. And this is where he really cut his teeth and became, started to move up in the eyes of people, where people started to finally take note of his work. So, got some more from Blackjack here. Yeah, you're probably right. And but again, just to me, it's like if it didn't matter either way, then just let him finish out the run, because he'd been on the book for 5 years. Let him finish the run. But again, I'm sure there's some internal politicking that was going on at the time, so I wouldn't be surprised. But back to our piece here. Now, the reason I got this piece, again, this piece may not look like much, but actually it's sort of a key issue because it's a tie-in to the breakthrough storyline that ran through all the Ultraverse titles at the time, the big breakthrough event. And also this issue introduces one of the most evil characters in all of the Ultraverse, Lord Pumpkin, who is a personal favorite character of Aaron Lopresti himself. But the thing that made me get this page is just these people right down here, you know, that are carrying Sludge. And I love the page break where he's like, they're like almost like they're lifting him out of the page. I think that's kind of a nice little fun touch. But just the way they looked, I mean, please tell me it's not just me. Do you also hear the music to Michael Jackson's Thriller with these people? With these looks on their faces, and they're all kind of moving in unison, with the same positioning and stuff. I mean, I just got that whole vibe of like Thriller when I saw this, and it's like, being a horror fan myself, I say, how could I not get this? So, this is just again just a fun page. Great title splash. I love the way they worked the title in off to the side, to give you more of the art. They kind of like worked it in without getting in the way of the artwork the way sometimes titles tend to do. But yeah, and I just love Gary Martin's inks. I think he's probably one of the best inkers to ever work on Aaron's stuff. I'm sure Aaron would probably say Matt Ryan is his personal favorite, but I've always liked Gary Martin's inks on Lopresti. And like just look at all the little details, like all the cross hatchings and the fine lines in the stuff here. I mean, and the blacks, as you can see, are black. They are deep and dark, shadowy. I mean, pitch. Yeah, those are great faces. See, and again, that's the thing too, is you notice how he doesn't make them. I mean, you can tell they all have like similar expression, but they don't all look the same. This guy is different from this guy, who's different from this guy, who's different from this woman, who's different from that guy, who's different from this woman. They don't all look the same, even though they have similar expressions. And again, that's like a little detail a lot of guys may not think about, when they're working. They're just want to get it done. Let me get this page done with all these faces. Just get it done. They all look the same. No. These actually all look different. And again, you'll see that when we go to the full color version. And you can see even here, with the coloring, it's the differential in the faces. Like they want them all to each stand out on their own. But yeah, just a great fun page. And of course, here's the cover again. Like I said, see the breakthrough event. It was a big deal. They even broke up the title of the book for it. That's how big a deal they made of this. So, again, a lot of people wouldn't know it was the first appearance of Lord Pumpkin. There's nothing, on the cover or on that page that tells you about it. But again, sort of a kind of a key issue to the series of Sludge, and even more greater to the Ultraverse with the villainous Lord Pumpkin. So. And then we get to my last piece, and this is probably the biggest one I got, without question. This is from Web of Spider-Man Annual 4, page 52. It's a pinup that is a tribute to Kraven's Last Hunt from 1988. I'm going to get a big. I mean, just look at this. I mean, this isn't just a pinup. This isn't just comic art. This is, this is almost like almost fine art. And there's a reason for that. Now, this was part of a section they had in the back of the annual for a year in review. Reviewing of everything that happened to Spider-Man within the last year, from his marriage to Kraven's Last Hunt to, the fight with Venom, all this stuff that had happened over the course of that year. And this was one they used for Kraven's Last Hunt. But this image has a very interesting story. But for me personally, I remember this year in review section in the issue. And this one and the McFarlane piece that they used in it were the two that stood out to me the most, which, of course, McFarlane, he was the man of the time. He was the Spider-Man artist. Of course, people are going to want his and be remembered. But like this one by Mike Harris just blew me away. I mean, not just with the graphic design, but with the whole entire layout. You got Spider-Man here strung up like a marionette, waiting for someone to start pulling on his strings. And I thought that was kind of an interesting visual representation, since this is supposed to be for Kraven's Last Hunt, right? And that's what Spider-Man basically was. His strings were pulled the entire time by Kraven. First when he tries to fight him and he thinks he's going to kill him and he doesn't, and then when he buries him alive, and then later when Spidey comes out and Kraven tells him about Vermin, and then has him go and fight Vermin. So I mean, he's like been pulling Spider-Man strings pretty much the entire time. So I always thought this image, again, just a very visceral image, like this, and I thought it was a beautiful image. But speaking with artist Mike Harris, he told me that this was actually not meant to be for that pinup section. He had actually done this a couple years previously, and it was intended as a cover for the storyline Gang War in the Amazing Spider-Man title, which was around issues 284 to 288. And if I was a betting man on which cover this was supposed to be, I would have guessed it was number 286, because as you can see, all the roses there, that's not like just an arrangement for like a funeral. He put the roses in there because the Rose was one of the big villains in the gang war story, and he wanted to emphasize that with the roses. And so that's exactly what he did here. And he said that he's a fan of artist Alphonse Mucha, which, if you don't know who that is, in the late 19th and earliest 20th century, he was a very popular artist for the Art Nouveau style, which was a very popular style as well at the time. And that's what this whole design here you have is. It's known as Art Nouveau. And since Mike was a big fan of his work, he decided to go Art Nouveau with this, what he thought was going to be a cover image. And again, like I said, that's probably part of what helped it to stand out to me back in 1988 when I first read this issue, was just the design work on it. I mean, and just to think of how hard it must have been to like get that concentric circles, and then working in the vine work to make it all even and line up properly. Just the gradiences in the shadowing on Spider-Man. Where to put the highlights, where not to. So that it stands out. Just a beautiful, beautiful image. I mean, this is, like I said, this is beyond just comic book art. This is almost to the realm of fine art. And the minute I had a chance to get this, I had to have it. I mean, as you guys know, I worked with Mike for several years selling his art, and I never did what most guys do, which is when they get their stuff in artists, they want to pick through it and save stuff for themselves and say, "Oh, I'll save this for me and I'll buy it," and then they never put it out to the public. But me, I never did that. I'm like, I'm here to sell for these guys. Let me sell. But this was the one exception that I made, because the piece was just so endemic to my early days of reading comics. It's like I said, it's like an image that had seared itself onto my brain, because it was just so, I don't know, just so, yeah. The only word I keep thinking you come back to is visceral. It's such a visceral image. It just seared itself in my brain. And so when he sent it to me to sell, I said, I have to have this one. This is one that has to go to me, because I don't think anybody's going to appreciate it as much as I do. And again, and then that's when he told me the story about it, and I found out there was actually a cover, and the editor at the time, he said, was very excited about it. And then when he finished it, he said it just never got used. And he says, in his speculation, what happened is the editor probably put it in a drawer somewhere and forgot about it. And then a couple years later, somebody was digging through some stuff, and they came across the image, and they're like, "Hey, we can use this in this year in review pinup section," and that's what they did. So again, just one of those little funny stories of how things happen sometimes in comics. An intended cover that became a pinup instead, due to forgetfulness of an editor. But again, it even in color, the impact. Here's a funny thing: Spidey was buried alive for 2 weeks, and he wasn't too thrilled about it. In perhaps the most controversial climax of the year, a deranged Kraven took his own life, convinced he had finally achieved his goal of defeating Spider-Man. A sequel to the Kraven saga, believe it or not, is in the works and should be published as a graphic novel in 1989. Now, remember, this is what he sold a year later. They're saying this is 88. Next year will be this. They did do the graphic novel called Spider-Man Soul of the Hunter by the same guys who did the original Kraven's Last Hunt. But here's the thing about it. It didn't come out in 89. It came out after that. I think it was like 1991. So that one was delayed by a couple of years. So it's kind of funny. It's almost like this piece is cursed, Mike drew it for a cover, and then it got set aside and didn't get used for like 2 years until it was put in this pinup section. And then when they use it to sort of like talk about an upcoming book. That book got delayed by 2 years. The piece is cursed, it seems, to be something that creates a delay. I don't know, but again, look at this. Again, just like I said before, when you have a good colorist, they never take away from the work, and this is just as good as the black and white version. And just it's like I said, you can see why the image would stick in someone's, especially in a young kid, like a 14-year-old boy's mind. I think you can understand why someone would see this and be like, "Whoa," and just blow you away. And then here's the cover to the issue it was in, by the great Alex Saviuk and the late and even greater John Romita Sr. So yeah, these were my picks for the best of for 2023. But you might say to yourself, well, okay, that's what you chose, but well, were there things that you didn't choose? Well, of course there were. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share those with you. And you're going to get to see those. And you see here, this is where you can put your best of selections. And you see right here, here are the 5 I chose. And then we got 3 that I didn't choose. And so now we're going to look at these. What didn't quite make the cut. And this is from Defenders number 97 from 1981 by Don Perlin and Joe Sinnott. And the reason I got this page is just simply the villain of the piece, called the Messiah. And as you can see here from his face, he looks like a certain other person that we all know who bore that title, which I'm sure is no accident. And, I just love it. You got a character called Devil Slayer going after the Messiah, and yet the Messiah beats him. And I thought that was kind of a fun little factoid, too. It's like, just made it kind of fun. Like the hero has devil in the name, and the villain is Messiah, and yet the Messiah still comes out on top over the devil. And I just thought that was kind of a fun little thing to have with that. So then we get the published version, you can see. And I gotta say, Don Perlin, he was never one of those big time stars. He was more like the utilitarian artist, like the guy you get to fill in, or the guy you get to do a series that isn't as popular. Like he never got to do a run on Amazing Spider-Man or Captain America or the Avengers, something like that. He was left on smaller books like Werewolf by Night and stuff like that. That's the guy you get to do that. But like right here, I mean, just the way he did that face, with the look of craziness in the eyes. That's a lot of fun, and it's not something that people probably would note him for, but I noticed it here. And we got Blackjack again, Devil Slayer. Yeah, you know what? That's the thing. I've never seen a lot of people who were big fans, but like the few that are, they really love this character for some reason. I mean, I never understood what the big deal with him was, but I guess that's different strokes for different strokes, right? And of course, here's our cover. And again, with Devil Slayer even commenting, what's this? Devil Slayer didn't join the Defenders to fight angels, the menace of the Messiah. It's just kind of funny when you put it that way. The Messiah, like you think of the Messiah as a good figure, a figure of light, a figure of hope. He's the Messiah, and yet it's the menace of the Messiah. I just so over the top, so over the top. And then here's the other one. Here's another one I didn't use from this year. And again, just as Blackjack noted, yes, this is from the Fantastic Four run by Paul Ryan and Tom DeFalco. Yes. Again, I loved their run on the book. I really enjoyed the series under them. And so, of course, I had to get something from their run together. And, I didn't want just anything because, there's a lot of pages from their run. Like I said, it was almost 5 years long. It's a lot of pages, but I wanted something, with a little oomph, a little pizzazz, and something special. And so here I got the chance to get this incredible opening splash title page to issue 405 near the end of the run, by the way. And just a great image of Ben Grimm, being bathed in energy. You got, of course, the classic Kirby crackle. How can you not love a little Kirby crackle in your work? And this is during the time when the Thing's face was injured in a battle he had with Wolverine, I think, a couple years before this issue. So, I mean, so you got like an injured looking thing. And I like how he's able to differentiate, the way he would normally look on this side with the injured side, because you would think if he's made of rock, it would be kind of hard to tell when there's damage, but yet he made it so it was very easy to see, oh yeah, this is damage over here versus the normal way he should look over here. And again, it's not a very dynamic image in the sense of, like, it's not like an action page like you saw with the Defenders page. It doesn't have any like historical significance, like the Superman page with the first work by Dan Jurgens on Superman, or the Iron Man page by Paul Rand that I put in, which was the origin of Iron Man. And besides that, since I already had a piece in by Ryan, I figured having two from Ryan, might be a little overkill. But again, this was just one I really wanted, a nice FF page from his run, because it's such a long run. And Blackjack, yeah, the Elijah story, yeah. Well, that's where he came in. He did the very first issue he did had the New Warriors, and then the very next issue was it 357, I believe, was the next issue, and that's the one where they revealed that the Alicia that married the Torch was actually the Skrull Elijah. So I mean, he came in with Elijah. So yeah. But it's under a normal year, another year, this might have been something that would have been in my best of, great splash page image by the late great Paul Ryan. But like I said, it just missed out. Too many other things, too many other issues that were pieces that were like more historically significant and things like that. So it didn't quite make the cut, but still a great piece nonetheless. And again, you can see here's our colored version. And again, you can see here even more so how they delineate with the color to show the damage to his face. And you may not have noticed this, but when you looked at the original, it didn't have the Malibu computer coloring listed in the credits. This was done afterwards, after the issue had already been completed. And they added this in, I guess, probably digitally somehow, to put in the fact that computer coloring was used on some of this, and so they had to credit the ones who were responsible for it. Just one of those little interesting factoids that you never knew about. And then, of course, we have the cover to the issue, where they fight Zarko the Tomorrow Man. But there you go, there's that. And then the last piece that didn't quite make the cut. Now, this is from Incredible Hulk number 289 from 1983. This is during the period where Banner had control of the change, and he could will the change. Rather than letting his anger cause it, he controls it. And in this scene here, he's being attacked by his old foe, the Abomination. So Banner's research assistant pulls out a weapon and takes care of business. And this is where Banner finds out that she's not just his research assistant, but she's actually an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, while this action stuff right here in the upper part of the page is nice and all, and it's great work by the always great Sal Buscema, who was right in the heart of his run on his 10-year run on the book. Great inks by Joe Sinnott. Just love those blast lines in the second and third panels. Just classic stuff. It's these last two panels. This is why I got the page right here. When Banner is revealed that she's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, you can see he goes, then you're more than merely my research assistant. You're what? My babysitter? Watchdog? Jailer? Why, Kate? Does S.H.I.E.L.D. deem my gamma ray research so vital to our nation's security that I couldn't be trusted to carry it out alone? Or is it just the same old song and dance? Despite all I've done, you're still afraid the Hulk will go savage again. And somebody had to be here to sound the alarm when Bruce Banner again went bad. And just that, to me, that's the heart of the character right here. This is his whole story is one of tragedy, and this is just more of the same. Here it is. He thinks he's here it is. He's supposed to be a hero at this point to people. He's conquered the savage Hulk, and he's in control now, and he's using the power of the Hulk to help people and do these good things. And yet, despite it all, the world will not forget what he was before. And he feels that no matter how much good he does, it's always going to be this way. They're always going to wait for that other shoe to drop. And I love the way Sal Buscema does. You go from the transition of the close-up of Banner's look of disbelief and betrayal to a panned-up shot where he looks small and insignificant, very isolated. This is he doesn't matter. Bruce Banner, it's only the fear of the Hulk that matters. Bruce Banner doesn't matter to people. And that's just some really great visual storytelling on the part of Sal Buscema here, and just excellent work. Here's the color version. See again, just how small he appears, how insignificant, which is how Banner feels that the world views him. Just a great page of like again high drama. It cuts right to the core of who the character is. And then of course here's our cover by Al Milgrom. And that was the only other piece I got that last year. So these were the three that didn't quite make the cut. Not because they aren't great pieces, but just one of those things. I had other pieces that trumped them out from having maybe more significance. It's a good thing to have. A good problem to have is when you're getting so much comic art that you can't decide on which five should be because you got so many with so much great significance to you. And that's part of what makes all this fun, the collecting of comic art and whatnot. But if you guys saw my post about this, I said we're going to have some surprises for you, and one of those surprises is coming up right here. I'll be sharing you here right here in a second, because I'm not the only one who submitted to the best of for 2023 on ComicArtFans. My wife has also. Now she's not nearly the comic art aficionado that I am, of course, but she still managed to get a few pieces herself last year, and we put them in, and so. Unlike mine, you're going to see hers has much more of a stronger theme running through it. But we'll start here at the top with the published and unpublished interior pages. And this is from Wonder Woman number 73 from the second volume, the one done in the 80s, with started by George Perez. And this page is is done by the late Lee Moder, who died last year at just about this time last year. He passed away only at age 53. He was part of the tribute I did at the end of the year this year with the remembrance of those who had passed. And I was so glad to get her this page. I'm the one that got this for her birthday. I was very thankful to get it because I had promised her I was going to try to help her get one page from every year that the second volume of the series ran. And she has a page from most of the years. There's about only 3 years left that she doesn't have one from, which is the first year in 87. That's going to be tough because it's Perez. And then I think 2000, 2002 and 2003, she doesn't have anything for those years. But then she's got pretty much other. So this was a key issue to get because 1993 was pretty much the year of Lee Moder. And up until recently, I'd never seen his art anywhere. It just wasn't available for some reason. And I guess now that he's passed, it's available. I've seen some stuff coming up some places. So maybe with stuff he was holding on to, and now that he's passed, his family is letting it go because they figure there's no point in keeping it around. But I was very thankful to get a page from his run, and again, pretty much with Wonder Woman in every panel. Here she is here she is in silhouette, here. And it's just a great, joyful, and also bittersweet reunion with Steve Trevor. And if you can see here, we can go and check out her published page right here. This is how it looks published. Just the joyfulness in that opening circular panel. Almost like you're looking at it through binoculars. Like you're watching them from afar. And then I just love the shot of her just hovering there in the air with her legs crossed, like she's sitting there in the air. I just love that. That's a great fun image. And I always like Lee Moder's stuff. I know him probably best from his work on Legion of Superheroes. I read the series during his run, so that's why I know him best for. But again, the wife, she's the Wonder Woman fan, as you no doubt saw from her selections for this year. And so to finally have a page from his run was a very significant get for her. And for those of you who need reminding, this is the cover to that issue by the great Brian Bolland, and just an excellent image, kind of a funny image. The Messner-Loeb's Motor era was definitely one that was not your standard typical superhero type fare when it was going on. So we go to her next piece here, which is in the unpublished and published illustrations and pinups section. And this is a pinup of, again, Wonder Woman by Mariah Bennis, who is the lesser of the Bennis clan. Ed and Fred are much more popular than she is, but as you can see here, she's got some chops. She's no slouch in the artistic department. And you can see it's more the modern Wonder Woman because the bracelets and tiara and stuff are not gold, they are silver. And I do like that she gave her the toga, just in case you had any questions as if she's Grecian or not. Well, there you go. And again, just the strong, powerful warrior. What really impressed me about the image was the backgrounds. You notice there's not a single drop of black in the backgrounds. It's all done with colored markers and stuff. And the trees and bushes, the ground, the statue and the buildings, all done, without a single single black line in any of it, and yet you immediately know what that is. You can look at this stuff up here and you know exactly what it is. You're not like looking and go, oh, what's that? No, you know what it is. And I just like that. There was a nice little touch of artistry to do that. And again, just the amount of detail she gets, like the detail in this hand and in the sword is just incredible. The scowling look, like of a warrior in anger. Just very, very well done. Like I said, Mariah Bennis, she doesn't get nearly as much credit as her two male siblings there do, Fred and Ed. But she's got some chops, and it shows you right here. I mean, again, even so much as like look at this here with the strap that's holding the toga on. You can see how it digs into the flesh. She indicates it's digging in. It's not just a straight line. It's got that little boop, just to let you know it's on there tight. And I like that. So again, just such attention to such small details like that is what elevates someone from being just an artist to being a great artist. When you give attention to such small details as that. And then our last one here is from the convention sketch, unpublished convention sketches section. This is one that she picked up at the SummerCon this year, because we were both there this year at SummerCon in June, and artist Bob Hall was there, and he had a whole bunch of these little drawings he had, I guess, pre-made for the show. And of course, again, she's the Wonder Woman buyer, so of course she had to get one. And he had a couple that were up there, but this is the one she chose. The other one, he had her like kind of looking over her shoulder, like like a 3/4, like looking back over at you. But she went with this one, and I think it was the better choice. I like the straight on shot a lot better. I like the fact that it has a little detail in the background with the stars, because if you see the two stars here, they kind of almost like go in line with where the star is on her tiara, just straight across. So I kind of like that. And again, just a very nice little quickie sketch. He probably banged this out like maybe like 20 minutes or so looking at it. I mean, which for someone of Bob Hall's skill and longevity in this industry, you think he should be able to do that. But yeah, just a little fun little sketch, and help make the show a lot more fun for her to get something Wonder Woman related. And so there you go. Those were her entries into the event, to the best of. So some good stuff. I think both her and I both had some good stuff there for you guys. And just as a reminder here to you, the votes. I'm doing all this because the voting was getting ready to start. As you can see here, it says it right here. Voting starts on January 19th. Now, originally this said, and I know because I've seen it, I've been watching it. It said that it was supposed to be today was the start of voting. But when I checked it this morning, I can see here, now it's saying it's going to be Friday. But, while they may have changed the dates, I wasn't going to change my date in doing this. So I figured, well, you guys get a little preview now. And this is where you go on ComicArtFans, right here to the best of. Right here, you can see right here, there's right there. And I have a link to this down there in the description section for you guys. So if you want to head on over and check stuff out, see what other great pieces are here, you can do that. But you can see lots of great stuff from lots of different, not just the categories we're in, but even other categories. So, lots of, and as you can see, I think what's it at now? It's yeah, up near 1,600 pieces in total. With still having like a day and a half left on this, I mean, it'll probably break 1,600. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in here to look at. But I just hope that when you guys are busy, if you're able to vote, that you'll make sure to throw a few votes my way or possibly the wife's way. We'd greatly appreciate that. We all like to get a little recognition for the great art that we try to obtain. Let me share it with you guys. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And like I said, I look forward to this. I had fun doing last year, so I was definitely looking forward to doing the one for this year. So there you go. That's the art portion of this event here, because there's our selections. I hope you guys enjoyed checking those out. And as far as surprises go, well, I do have one other surprise left. Now, if you guys were here on Saturday, I did a birthday unboxing live stream where I unboxed my birthday presents. Well, what I didn't tell you is I should have had one more gift that I didn't have at the time, and it's because as Mother Nature has shown recently with our nice little polar punch, she kind of screwed stuff up, and so a piece that I was expecting to be in by my birthday did not get here in time. It was held up because of the weather. So it came in yesterday, and I've got it right here. So we're going to open up this bad boy, and then you're going to get to see one more birthday-related piece that I obtained. All right, almost got it here, I think. There we go. Get that off of there. And we'll get it out of. Yes, folks, when you package it, I appreciate you taking great care to make sure that the items don't move around. But when you make them impossible to get out of the packaging, that's not quite so much fun. There we go. Okay. Of course, you knew it would be artwork, because why wouldn't it be? But here we are. From Sleepwalker number 22 from 1993 by Kelly Krantz and John Lowell. Just a fun little image of Rick Sheridan, the host of Sleepwalker character, the one whose mind he sleeps in during the day when he's awake. And got a great little moment here, a little fun moment with his girlfriend. Although, I don't know if I'd be into that kind of rough trade, but, I guess, again, it just takes all kinds, I suppose. But, yeah, just I like this because it gave me a very horror vibe. And again, as a horror fan myself, I couldn't resist a nice page of the horrific. So there you go, a nice little extra bonus for you guys. There is seeing that some more art. So if you didn't see enough today already, there's one more piece, and so there you go, and that's also the end of the birthday fun too. So. But that'll about do it for this event here. I want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope you saw some really cool stuff that you enjoyed. I hope you liked checking out some sweet, sweet art, because I know I always do. And again, be sure to remember, Friday begins the actual voting. If you're able to vote, head on over to ComicArtFans and throw in them votes. And if you can throw one my way or a few my way, I would appreciate that. Because I work very hard to try to find some really cool stuff, and also give great descriptions on it. If you go and check them out for yourself, you can see my stuff on my gallery, which is linked down there in the description below. And you can check out not just the stuff that I have in this event this year, but you can see all my past stuff, and everything has little write-ups on it, because I always like to give lots of details, lots of information on stuff. So I like to make it fun. not just to look at the art, but to understand about why I like the art and why it matters and what's what made it so special. And before we head out here, I also want to say one last thing is also down in the links below, you'll see a thing for why it's great with Pops. Our first one of the year, me and him, where we get together and we talk about a couple comics we both really love and why you should check them out and why they're great. Um, it takes place in about 40 minutes. So it's going to be the first one of the year, and I think it's going to be a fun one. And so you can head on over and check that out when you get done here. I got a link down there. And if you, after you've seen that, also down there is a link to a playlist on this channel where you can see all our past ones that we have done as well. So if you would like what you see in that one, you can check out some even more that we've done over last year. So it's going to be a big year for me. I'm going to try to do a lot more of those with Pops as well as some of my own things. And last thing I want to share with you guys here is, let me get it right here. And I mentioned this during my birthday stream, but I'm doing a little something called I'm trying to get off the ground called the Sequential Art Showcase, where myself and another person will showcase some sweet comic art for you guys and kind of give you a little bit of like what you got today, where we're going to talk about some sweet pieces of art, what makes them so cool, what we like about them, maybe even what we don't like about them sometimes. But whatever it is, we're gonna put it all together and do that for you. I just got to get some people who are willing to come on stream with me, which seems to be a lot harder and more difficult than I thought it would be. But in anticipation of that, here's a little something I've put together, a little promo. You may have seen it, you may not have, but this is something I did. And so here we go. Yes, coming soon. As soon as I can get some people who won't mind being on stream with me for some reason. Ah, nice catch there, Blackjack. Yes, that was a page from the Destroyer miniseries from 1991. Yes, you are indeed correct, my friend. Good eye, good eye. So, if you know anyone out there who's got some comic art, or if you're somebody who has some comic art, you wouldn't mind sharing it publicly with people and going on live streams and talking about it, hit me up. Hit me up. I definitely want to try to get this rolling this year. So it should be a lot of fun. And again, I thank you all for joining me today. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you have, thank you. Hit that like button down there if you liked what you heard. And if you didn't, well, I guess you can hit the dislike too. It's all helps with the algorithms. If you got any comments, anything you want to say about some of the art you saw here today, or maybe something you have, that's similar that you want to talk about, drop it down there in the comment section. I like to hear what people got to say about stuff. So, come on over and, hit me up with anything you got. And again, I thank you all for joining me today. I will see you all over on Pop's stream in about 35 minutes when he debuts it. And I'll probably be in the chat there and, be talking with you guys. And you can see what my pick for Why It's Great was for this month. And then rolling forward, we'll have some more for you this year. Again, we do these once a month, so you want to be sure to check those out. Again, they're a lot of fun. A lot of bad comics out there right now, but you know what? We try to point you out to some good stuff so you can actually have some enjoyment in the hobby. So, again, thank you for joining me today, and I guess I'll be back to you with some more stuff hopefully in the near future. And until that time, take care.